Bet on You. G'day, folks. For those who don't know me, Laban Ditchburn, aka the world's best courage coach and the author of Bet on You, a self-help memoir that came out last year, late December, available in paperback, Audible, in my dulcet tones, and in the Kindle version, available on Amazon, everywhere. And I wanted to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to read chapter 1. And I know it's available on Audible, I know you can hear it, but this is the raw form. And then at the end of it, I just want to share a couple of thoughts, something that's come to me it's important to me and might be of some benefit to you. And so sit back, relax, and enjoy chapter 1 of Bet on You. Dedication. This book was gifted to me by a force far greater than I'll ever be able to explain. I dedicate this book to its rightful recipient, you. Chapter 1, My Two Queens. Why don't you take us home and we'll let you do anything you want? She whispered. A puff of warm breath from the tea and want activated the erogenous zone of my lips. The Eastern Bloc accent made me think of Bond girls, but of course. They were physically perfect and smelled like strawberries. Tall, athletic, olive-skinned, and brunette with super long eyelashes that fluttered in my direction. Hair up, but more than long enough to travel down past their perfect derrieres. Their red, knee-high Louboutins, fitted with sparkling diamantes, sent rainbows of light in every direction. I was voluntarily trapped on a huge Chesterfield sofa with two of the most beautiful women I had ever seen. Double and Trouble, they called themselves, preferring mystique and anonymity. They were entrepreneurs of the highest order, and I had just been offered the ultimate indecent proposal. And what would my investment be? I asked, my shoulders tensed into my neck with anticipation of their response. $2,000. Cash. Anything you want. Remaining cool like an Alaskan winter, I responded with feigned nonchalance. Ladies, you've seen what I've spent tonight. I couldn't pay that much if I wanted to. Two pals visiting from overseas, another local friend, and I had decided a gentleman's club would be our home for the evening. Like soldiers released on shore leave, we steam trained into that place with blood alcohol levels high enough to blind most amateurs. We needed a quick chemical intervention to level out the intoxication, and a chance encounter with a fellow patron provided us exactly what we needed. Sporting a traditional ponytail, buffalo leather vest, and more tassels than Dolly Parton's wardrobe, he looked to be a legitimate Native American. I stood alongside him at the men's urinal and channeled my inner Geronimo. "How?" I said, using my lowest octave and raising my right hand to show I held no weapon and meant no harm. My left hand remained attached to my own weapon, as urinating on another man's shoes is never cool at the best of times. He was as high as a kite, and he knew that I knew. "What do you need?" he bellowed in an even deeper voice, his accent confirming my guess. "Drugs, please?" I inquired. He grinned, zipped up his fly, and within 60 seconds I had exchanged cash for a fun-sized Ziploc bag of dusty green pills. They had the Mitsubishi logo pressed into them, aka Green Mitsies for all you retired ravers, and looked real enough. It's astonishing the reckless levels of confidence I placed in drug dealers when it came to consuming illicit substances. Mind you, I did the same with the legal stuff, and you'll soon find out how well that turned out. Without further thought, I gulped down 2 pills, room temperature whiskey, my only lubricant. I shuddered uncomfortably as the alcohol attacked my central nervous system and carried the mystery chemical cocktail down my gullet and into my stomach. 30 minutes later, I was fueled by top-shelf spirits, huge amounts of dopamine, and Christ only knows what else. Sweat poured from my forehead and my face distorted into a lip-chewing, humid hybrid lizard person. Something between a troll and a goblin? A troblin? My pleasure receptors lit up like the 4th of July and a river of sexual energy cascaded into my loins. If you've ever taken MDMA, you'll empathise. If not, imagine the best orgasm you've ever had. Now, fall in love with everybody you meet, and now win the lottery. And you're still not even close. And that pleasure extends the entire length of your body and doesn't finish for hours. Sounds awesome, hey? The after effects, however, make suicide seem like a real and viable option. And when sober, I craved the feminine touch that pumped me full of a man-made love drug, and I became hornier than a short-nosed fruit bat. And speaking of fruit, from the blur of my intoxication, the strawberry-scented Double in Trouble both appeared. Hello, handsome. Intoxicated by their scent, that's what Sean Connery says. Intoxicated by their scent, charm and seduction, it was less than 60 seconds before I was led down to the dungeon. The special section of the club was designed for you to lose yourself. 1 lap dance became 2, 3 became 4, and 4 made it the most expensive night I'd ever had. Draining the nearby cash machine, I quickly maxed out my daily limit of $1,000. So that $2,000 cash they mentioned? Impossible. My mates didn't have it, nor did I, and even if I did, I couldn't access that much cash. Make it $1,600. That's our final offer. Double counted. Done. Give me 30 minutes, ladies. Sure thing, lover boy. They both grinned. I didn't have $1,600 needed, but I had $800, and I knew how to get the rest. The strip club was located half a mile from Crown Casino, Australia's flagship gambling venue. That was my new destination, and I made it in record time. And as the clock struck midnight, a new day reset, and so did my withdrawal limit. I checked my bank balance, $800. Withdraw? Yes. Like Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, I calmly entered the gaming floor via the escalator, spied the high roller's room, and beelined straight to the blackjack table. I definitely knew what I was doing. Here's a crash course if you've never played blackjack. Each player is dealt 2 cards, individually face up. The dealer is also dealt 2 cards, one exposed and one hidden. And the value of cards 2 through 10 is their face value. Jack, Queen and King are all worth 10. Aces can be worth 1 or 11. The dealer then reveals the hidden card and must draw cards one by one until the cards total up to 17 points. At 17 points or higher, the dealer must stop. Players bet on the basis that they'll individually have better hands than the dealer. And as I traded my cash for 8 $100 chips, nerves forced me to stand rather than sit. The dealer pushed the pile towards me and I carefully pushed the pile back, resting them perfectly into the felt box. I had just laid the single biggest bet of my life in order to get laid. And that would have been funny if the situation wasn't so tense. All I needed was one result in my favour, and I'd have the resources to fund a hedonistic rampage that would make Hugh Hefner blush. Shit, I was about to engage in every man's fantasy. Were these 2 willing and beautiful women a gift from a god I didn't yet believe in, but who obviously believed in me? The power I felt placing such a large bet was simply magnificent. Even on such a high-limit table, the whites of everyone's eyes added even more light to an already well-illuminated room. With the final wagers placed, the dealer waved her hand across the table and affirmed, "No more bets." As she finished her sentence, the irony of the situation hit. I had already blown $1,000 on the night, and now I was risking $800 to try and win $1,600 to pay for something that, had I just cut to the chase at the very start of the evening, would have saved me all that mucking about. Fuck, I bemused. Why do I make my life so complicated? The game commenced and the blackjack began. Queen! I yelled violently, slapping my hand on the table. That's 10, I counted in my head. The croupier dealt her own cards and delivered a king of spades. Her second card was placed face down, hidden from everyone's view. My heartbeat was already racing from my sprint to the casino complex, and now it had more beats per minute than 90s techno. The second round of cards arrived, and to my utter delight, another queen arrived. Yes! I exclaimed aloud. My yells scared the crap out of the craps table and the mahjong from the mahjongers. The dealer delivered the rest of the cards in silence, and the remaining gamblers surrounding me all went bust. I could feel them silently wishing unimaginable harm to the unsuspecting croupier, but undeterred, she slid her king of spades gently underneath her mystery card and flipped it into the air like an Olympic diver executing a simple rotation. In super slow motion, the dealer's card revealed itself next to the king. Ace. An ace of fucking spades. Like watching passenger jets plough into the Twin Towers, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The God I didn't believe in had failed me. Blackjack, the dealer reluctantly called out. A collective gasp from the audience broke the silence, simultaneously sucking the air from the room and my lungs. The dealer funneled my losing chips into a small black hole. I wished I could have joined them. My vision blurred and a huge wave of nausea swept over me like a giant vomity blanket. I staggered from the table, my legs suddenly useless. Was it possible to feel any worse than this? End of chapter 1. Thank you for paying attention and sticking around. I hope you enjoyed that. That incident happened, I think, in 2005, 2006. And it's amazing when you start writing how well your memory is able to recollect what goes on. And I found when I wrote the book, it was a very cathartic experience, and one I'd highly recommend. I mean, even if you'd never release it, like if you never, I mean, it would be a waste to not publish whatever you write. But even to go through the process of writing and giving your subconscious an opportunity to bring it into your conscious, very healing. And for those that have read the book, the book's made up entirely of those types of stories, and the rest of them have a random lesson at the end of every chapter. That one, the first one, doesn't. It just I wanted to create a real impact for the reader. And when you've lived a life that's interesting at times, you don't need to embellish too much. And certainly didn't need to do that with this example. And it's funny, the book came out late last year. So if you're watching this live, this is the 29th of December that we did the official book launch. And it's been out long enough now where I'm starting to get messages from people that I don't know. Some that I do, but some that I don't, and the impact that it's had on them. And what's surprising is that there's parts of it that inspire or impact people in a way that I never even put two and two together. And so that's yet another reason why you should write a book. And it's not about writing something about ego or whatever. If there's any chance that anything that you'll write will help someone that's one step behind you or further, I think you've got an obligation to do it. And in terms of qualifications, like, I didn't finish high school. In fact, I got 2 identical results in science and economics 2 years in a row in the same curriculum. I was smoking marijuana back then, and I had a very traumatic like home life. But to get the same exact scores, my brain wasn't operating. It's operating well now, but it wasn't then, and I don't have any qualifications of any significance. But the book's really good. Not just my opinion, but the opinion of lots of other people that have had a chance to read it and enjoy it. And if people get one thing from it that helps them in their own journey and expedites that whole healing journey, then it's worth it, So I think that the lesson here from what I wanted to share with you is that, you've all got a Michael Jordan level genius at something. And I think telling a story about whatever you've endured and overcome is super powerful. And even the most successful authors that I've had on my podcast and been able to interact with and spend time with at their homes and that type of thing, like, it's really the people that have the courage to make the commitment to write something, to put it out into the world. And, Les Brown shared with me watching one of his videos years ago, what people think of me is none of my business. And that the more that you share the truth about you and what you've, encountered in your life, I think the more relatable you become, the more trustworthy you are, and the more healing, because the more you talk about it, the more you normalize it. And talking about all of these outrageous things that I used to get up to is nothing to me now. And some people might find it shocking, but I couldn't care less. So I'd like to continue doing more of these. I'm going to read more of the book, I think. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. And for those that are watching this on YouTube, feel free to, you can, wherever you're watching this, you can leave a comment to let me know what part of this impacted you, if at all. Your feedback's really greatly appreciated. And if you're not having a great day, I'd encourage you to have one. And if you are, well, keep up the good work, would you?